Hello, everyone. Hoping you're having the best day ever with you and your loved ones. Today, we're reacting to Lara Logan interviewing one and only Michael Flynn. As you know, Obama tried to set him up under his administration and then Trump's administration, and it never works. People love Michael Flynn. They love what he stands for, and I believe he's an ex-Democrat, now Trump supporter, and they're going to be talking about Trump administration, Republicans, Congress, how the Republicans are even dirty as well, and how true journalism is needed more today than ever in our country's history. Enough talking. Let's get it started, y'all.
Welcome to the latest episode of Going Rogue with Lara Logan. My guest today is a man who really doesn't need an introduction, someone I've known for more than 20 years and consider a good friend. He is America's general. I call him the George Washington of today, General Flynn. You know, there is, I want to get right to it. There is a lot of talk about indictments, and nobody knows better than you how significant this is. I was shocked last night while listening to Judge Napolitano on Newsmax with a guest putting this off as, you know, politics as usual. And people shouldn't expect anyone to go to prison, that this is kind of fantasy. I would love to hear your response to that.
Yeah, I didn't see the episode, but let me just tell you, Laura, that there has to be indictments. There have to be people that are held accountable for what they do.
Real quick, before he goes into detail, I have almost no trust left for this administration when it comes to immigration, border being secure, and actually working on the cities that are shitty thanks to liberal policies. Maybe okay, I will give him credit. But when it comes to arrests, they should have already happened. I mean, Obama, Russiagate, nothing happened. Schiff, Russiagate, nothing happened. The Clintons, nothing. Biden, 50 intelligence agents, CIA agents, I think they just lost their pensions. No arrest. The guy who held the Epstein files just got fired. No arrest. We are seeing zero arrests. I'm sorry, it's been almost a year. Now Trump and this administration is saying that the Epstein files and the list is a Democrat hoax, when his own son, his own FBI director, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, ran on that exact subject, saying, don't believe anything you're told. And then the minute they get into this administration, they do the same thing. I'm sorry, but my trust is at an all-time low for this administration. I do believe they are good intended, and I just think that Israel has too much of a stronghold over them because, as we know, Israel and Mossad, they are the ones that ran these blackmail operations with our CIA, and that's just facts. It's not hard to find the proof, but they're literally covering it up at this point, and it sucks because I love Trump. I voted for him, but man, has he really turned me off lately, especially literally yesterday. Now he's saying his own words that they're going to allow in 600,000 Chinese immigrants, citizens, doesn't matter. They're going to let them in, and that they're in the middle of a deal with China. What a bigger FU to American voters face than that.
Did to this country, never mind to like me, my family, Trump, his family, and many, many others who were families were destroyed. So I do think that there's going to be some discussion about whether or not to go after Barack Obama as a president. I'm not going to get into that constitutional debate, but people like John Brennan, Jim Comey, Jim Clapper, Susan Rice, and many others, I do think that they're also going to, we're also going to see with what Ed Martin is doing, people like Fannie Willis, who is the district attorney in Georgia, the attorney general in New York. I think that people like Jack Smith, who did the Mar-a-Lago raid and was the quote unquote special counsel against President Trump, I think we're going to see indictments of those individuals.
I actually agree. Trump's committing a genocide. He's at least contributing to the genocide that's happening in Gaza. And again, I didn't even know anything between Gaza and Israel up until a few months ago. And if you just dig into it, that's not propaganda. That's a fact. That's a real thing. And we are sending Israel billions upon billions of dollars of our tax-paid dollars. I think that's literally in the bill they just passed. And on top of that, literally bombing Iran, which could have set off sleeper cells that are in our country thanks to the last administration. Also, the Iraq war, that was in regards to Israel. I also found out JFK was killed by Israel because he was saying when he was president, and he was the only president in history that did this, that said, you guys are not to have nuclear arms. And because of that, they took him out. So if you just do a deep dive into Israel, and it's really not hard to find the truth, because as a Republican, we're told, oh, yeah, you have to support Israel and you're anti-Semite. No, dig into Israel, and it's not hard to find that they run the show. The Rockefellers, they run the show. They are Jewish. Nothing against Jewish people, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Jewish people run everything in not just America, but the world. They are the puppet masters.
There are grand juries already in place that I'm aware of, and one is in Florida, one is in, I believe, is in Washington, D.C., another is in New York, and there's a potential one in Pennsylvania. And I think the one in Pennsylvania may be for what I believe is going to be an even bigger bomb that's going to come out here, and that has to do with the 2020 election. So people look at Russiagate as the attempted coup, the actual coup was 2020 election. And they did it. They effected a coup against the country. And they put a person in place who we now know was essentially brain dead. And I'm being a little bit.
Also, not including this, the rigged election, 0 consequences still, 0 arrests. So I feel like after the Trump administration leaves this time, it's literally going to go right back to it. Because if Democrats get reelected and they rig another election, you don't think that it's going to be worse than last time? Literally shit flipped overnight when Trump was eliminated the last time. And we still have seen 0 arrests. But the amount of times I've seen Pam Bondi on Fox News doing her stupid interviews, it is just insulting to our intelligence.
Facetious, but he clearly had mental health problems.
Yes.
So there is going to be accountability for sure of some of those names that I mentioned. And I think that if there isn't accountability, which I seriously doubt, but if there isn't, for some reason, these people are able to walk away from all this, then our country is gone.
Yep.
No matter what President Trump does, he must hold these people accountable. And in some cases, Lara, it can be, or they can be held accountable for national security reasons, not just reasons that are conspiracy or fraud or racketeering or things like that we typically hear about, but for purposes of national security and undermining a duly elected president, which is very clear.
We all have a lot of choices for cell phone service, and it feels like they're worth fighting for. And that company is BETRAYAL. Uses all 3. It's not. And if you're stuck in a contract, every dollar just to get a free.
I'll stop. I just got another batch of documents that the FBI just released. So they're not even waiting on FOIAs anymore. They're just starting to release tranches of documents. So I have a member of my team that's looking at things that are just related to me. And so now we see the conversation that I think it was Andy McCabe had with Mike.
Yeah, you're right. I just heard about that story. Like, supposedly she was like gang raped by 50 people in Egypt. That's just insane. And she still made it out alive. So, I mean, I am a fan of Lara Logan, though. I think she has uncovered a lot and has good morals.
Mike Pence and Reince Freeman.
Yeah, none of these people have been arrested. What's going on? Like, what are you waiting on, Trump? Come on, arrest these criminals.
Well, I think both of those latter names, Pence and Priebus, I actually think that they were part of my problem for sure. And we now know exactly what those conversations were because they're documented and now they're public. And so the FBI clearly, and in this case, Andy McCabe, and then another name that a lot of people don't remember, but Sally Yates, who was the acting attorney general for a while. They lied to the vice president and chief of staff to the president, or those two, when they read whatever document that they were presented, they misinterpreted or they misread it. But it's black and white now. And it's very clear that particular conversation, because that's the conversation that happened in the Situation Room of the White House that led to my resignation as the national security advisor. that started the ball rolling toward really the worsening of the Russiagate situation. It didn't, Trump believed when I left, Lara, that it was going to go away. Actually, it began in earnest.
Yeah, and as we know, Obama was the one, Hillary Clinton as well, that created the Russia hoax, and they are still walking free. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard has already released all the goods. I don't understand what the hell they're waiting for. This is what I'm talking about. If you've already exposed that people have committed treason, why are they still walking free? Why? They've sold out the American people on numerous occasions. It's just infuriating.
And so the previous stuff that happened, what we now know from back in August of 2016, December of 2016, early January of 2017, these are meetings with Barack Obama and John Brennan and other members of Barack Obama's team, where they set this conspiracy to undermine and basically to take over the country from a duly elected president. There's no more theories about this. It is in black and white. And in fact, the word that's been used, two words that have been used, one is treason and one is coup. And those have been used by both the president of the United States, the current one, Trump, and by the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. So there's even more to come, but people are going to have to be held accountable.
But Mike,
but they haven't been. So I'll believe it when I see that day come.
Isn't that a seditious conspiracy?
100%. 100%. It started prior to Trump being elected in 2016.
Yes.
So if Trump had lost, Hillary would have won, and frankly, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, she made that clear, right? She said the basket of deplorables. She basically rolled out a target list. And that's why Trump has always said, it's not really about me, it's about the American people, and I'm just standing in the way.
Exactly. And so what we have learned is that these people wanted to take the country in a completely different way. As Barack Obama has said, he wanted to fundamentally transform the United States of America. He wanted to make this country into a socialist nation. Okay. These people are ready to eliminate the Constitution. They don't care about our current rule of law. They have allowed an ungodly amount of illegals to come into our country. Thank God we're still big enough and strong enough, and we're smart enough as the American people did to reelect Donald Trump as the.
Who also thinks that Trump's not doing enough in regards to immigration? Sure, the border is secure, damn good accomplishment. I will give him that. Why are they just beating around the books when it comes to these liberal states? I mean, the majority. I don't even think these liberal states are liberal states. They don't have voter ID. They don't have properly ran elections. I mean, California, my state, I think is easily blue or red if you were to have fair one-day voting with ID. But what is he? The strongly worded letters have got to end. I've seen those numerous times. Act now, just like you did in DC. We have so many veterans I know, because I see it all day throughout social networks, that are waiting to be called. Let's start putting troops on the ground in our own country, not these other countries, so we can start helping Americans while kicking out illegals, pedophiles, sex traffickers, criminals, murderers. I don't understand why they're tiptoeing around. It's just they're when it comes to justice, we are seeing very minimal justice, I feel like.
47th president. But had he not come back and we'd be living with somebody else, we'd all be in jail right now, too, including him. And he knows it.
That's right. Me too.
So that during that period of time, when he was the 45th president, he was so beat about the head and shoulders with Russia that he could not do the things that he needed to do in order to end the war in Ukraine then.
That's right.
In order to do the things that are happening in the Middle East now. Right? He couldn't do those things because he was so badly damaged as a president with the Russia. Okay? And everybody back then said, the media especially said, oh, he's a spy, I'm a traitor, all these different words that they threw. And then they stole the country, and they did it with the 2020 election. That was the coup. The attempted coup was 2016 and the 2017. The actual coup was 2020 and 2021. And then the American people finally started to wake up. And we started to wake up with people like yourself and the others in the alternative media. And the American people really did make the 2024 election for president a too big to rig election. Because the American people are like, we can't have Kamala Harris as our president. Imagine that. So here we are. All of this is being unraveled or unfolded and exposed. And I actually think that one of the biggest problems that we face, it's not the Democrats any longer. It's not the fact that these people are still exist and they're still walking the streets. It's actually the lack or the weakness of the GOP.
Yes.
And the GOP leaders, and I'm talking about the establishment, the Speaker of the House and the members of the House, and certainly the Senate. Both those houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, they're controlled by Republicans. They should be tearing these people apart. They should be holding investigations. They should be dragging them in. They didn't do that the last 2 years when they were in charge, right? When the House was in charge, they didn't do it. So they're not doing anything right now. We're 7 months into this election or into this presidency, and we've seen nothing out of that. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that President Trump, as much as he wants to do to hold these people accountable, and he's going to have to, the American people are not going to let these people get away with it, and they're not going to let him get away with it. They're not going to let President Trump get away with it.
Mike, some people would say you're being kind, right? About Pence and Priebus and the Republicans who are in charge of the House and the Senate now, because this is now a familiar playbook. We see this over and over again. We just saw this in.
Yeah, a lot of promises made, promises not kept. And as usual, the Republicans are just as useless as the Democrats are. I mean, they say a lot of cool worded tweets and say a lot of stuff when it comes to their hearings, but they don't act. They don't do nothing.
In Texas with Governor Abbott, there's all this talk about, we're going to vacate the congressional seats of these Democrats who fled the House. And what happened? They didn't do any of that.
And so, you see this in Texas. You're going to see this in other parts of the country, especially if these members of the state house of Texas get away with it. If they come back in, if they trickle back into Texas and nothing happens. I saw some things the other day where A.G. Paxton is now going after some of these people, with legal cause, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to have to happen.
But nothing happened. No one got arrested at all. The Democrats, they just walk all over the Republicans, and the Republicans say they're going to do something, they don't. It's Democrats commit treason, put illegals and criminals first. Republicans just don't do anything when it comes to accountability.
Have got to stop this movement that is a movement towards a Marxist communist state here in the United States of America. And part of that intent is clearly demonstrated in the number of illegals that they allowed into this country to vote. I mean, never mind what's happening out in California. It's happening in Florida. It's happening in Texas.
That's right.
In all their big swing states, right? North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. I mean, all these places. So everybody better wake up out there. Your listening audience, the audience that hears these clips or whatever. We have got to get people so involved in being citizens again. Otherwise, we're going to lose this country. Trump has 3.5 years left, and those 3.5 years are going to go by very fast.
They're already going by very fast because the next thing it's going to be midterms. Right now the Senate
stuff's still expensive. Also, when it comes to food, they are putting shit in our food now. So they are putting stuff in our air that we are breathing. So we are getting poisoned. I hope YouTube doesn't ban this. Poisoned in more ways than one. And the same people who were on the Epstein flights and logs are the same people Trump are protecting that are doing the processed foods, that are putting stuff in the chemicals in the air, that are creating these geoengineered events that are killing mass people. And no arrests. I mean, Newsom taking 50 million of the 100 million raised in the Palestine fires. There was an event, literally gave $50 million to an organization that his wife runs. Why do you think that is? There is so much good material to work on when it comes to arresting these Democrats, and I don't see any action at all.
they just undermined the president. They prevented him from doing recess appointments. They did that specifically for that one single purpose. I mean, that should tell everyone in the country that the establishment Republicans are undermining President Trump, which to me is evidence of an ongoing seditious conspiracy, and they have a role in it.
Yeah, I don't doubt that they have a role in it. The one thing that they do have a role in is they have a role in trying to help a duly elected president of their own party. And they so despise Donald J. Trump because he doesn't represent who they are, which is a political class in this country that has gotten into power, and all they want to do is hold on to power and be able to benefit financially, be able to benefit through letters of power that they hold on to.
And they look down on the people, Mike. They look down on the people who vote for them.
Yeah.
Why are so many young people struggling 50 years ago? Have something called the woman can have them
for office, because we are sick and tired of the people that are in Washington, D.C. They're not supporting this president, and they need to. I mean, my God, if we don't get this fixed, this is not politics as usual. If we go back to a left government, and I don't like to use the word Democrat anymore because it doesn't exist. But if we go back to some government that is left leaning, we may be done. I'm not sure if we can recover from that. And we're really in a tough spot right now because we got wars overseas. We have a war going on in this country. We have war inside of our institutions, for sure. We have the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, that is up our rear ends here in this country, inside of our country. And they're killing people on the streets of America with the.
Not to include also, because this was probably taped before, that Trump just said yesterday that they're going to be releasing or letting in 600,000 Chinese immigrants. Why the F would that happen when you're talking about removing illegals? We already have about 40 to 50 million illegals in this country, and you're letting in 600,000 Chinese immigrants. I am losing trust in Trump by the day. I mean, there's already a lot of trust that I don't think he can gain back in regards to Epstein and arresting criminals, but
likes of fentanyl as a weapon system. I mean, it is so bad, and yet we stand here and we talk about the GOP as something that they should be fixing these problems, and they're not. They should be helping this president, whatever this president decides to do to get stuff done. They ought to be helping him. And there's probably a handful inside the Congress that are actually doing that. And the rest of them, I mean, I wonder what guys like Jim Jordan is doing, right? House Judiciary. And he hasn't brought one of these people in from
because they're good at talking. They suck at action.
Russiagate. Not one.
It's outrageous. Mike, how much of the GOP, how many of them are on the CCP's payroll?
Zero.
How many of them are compromised?
I don't know, but that's a good question. But the numbers that are compromised.
I love how they say CCP. They will not say Israel. We should talk about Israel. I'd say it's 98%. Besides Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene are owned by Israel.
I think people would be sick to their stomach to find out how high of a percentage of that is in our country. It's very sad. So. Anyway,
very quickly, because I know you got a border plan.
I gotta go.
Let me ask you one last thing. Adam Schiff is still suggesting that Trump is being handled by Vladimir Putin. Is that not evidence of an ongoing seditious conspiracy?
100%. And Adam Schiff should be censured and impeached from the Senate right now. Thune should start that. But again,
Thune's even working against Trump, and that's the Senate leader for the Republican Party. He is literally letting illegals stay in this country. I believe he's fighting them on the deportations and how they're happening. But the Republicans, lock, stock, and step, every single chance Trump gets, they are working against him. And Trump himself also is lying to the American people. He's changing. He's putting Israel first, and then he's putting the needs of Israel and the people that run our world, which are that are all connected through Epstein. They're scot-free. I mean, again, Bill Gates, he's the one processing our foods, poisoning us. He's still walking free. He was on the Epstein logs. These are the type of people that the GOP and the Democrats are protecting. And I'm sorry, I voted for Trump 3 times. I had a lot of faith in him this past election, but he is protecting him at this point. Because if he wasn't, why is he not releasing him?
And why isn't the GOP stepping up to shut this guy down and get him off the stage? He's been lying to the American people for years. This guy needs to go to jail.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike.
Anyway,
I know you got to catch
God
a plane.
bless.
Travel safely and God bless.
Also, the person that you always see behind Trump, I don't know his name. Look him up. He, like, when Trump does interviews when he's about to get on Air Force One, I believe his last name starts with a D, but he actually was Epstein's next door neighbor during the whole time that these blackmail operations were happening. You don't think it's connected? Start looking into Israel, connections with the DNC, the RNC, how they don't have to register as a foreign agent. They're the only country that doesn't have to. And they also pay the most in regards to our politicians and their campaigns. And they are Mossad, which is Epstein. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview. I do like General Flynn. He is saying a lot of good stuff. I like that he's calling out the Republicans, as I have been as well, because we're very limited on time. And if you piss off the American people, it's almost getting to the point where I think no one should vote, because both sides suck ass. We're literally just voting for the shittier side of the two. And they don't really do much. Unless you live in a red state, you are effed, because I feel like these strongly worded letters that they send out don't do nothing, because Democrats do not listen. So show that you are the alpha, put your foot down, put military in all these liberal states, get these homeless centers cleaned up, get these illegals out, get these drug centers out, clean up the medical industry, the food industry. All this money you're bringing in from tariffs, give it to the American people. It is not our fault that our politicians put us in trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. Why the hell should that extra money coming in for Americans be paying off the debt when we didn't even agree to this debt to begin with? I find it infuriating when I see Americans say, no, don't give us money, even though you've been stealing billions and sending it to overseas bullshit forever. Pay down the debt. No, you guys with your millions that you've made from being corrupt, pay it off yourself. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys have a great night with you and your loved ones. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the above. Have a blessed day. See you tomorrow.